Hi friends, this is the Bijou Baker. I'm Maria. Today I'm going to teach you how to make Swiss buttercream, my absolute favorite buttercream to work with. Up here I showed you how to make the American buttercream. That's a great buttercream, especially for beginners. It's firm enough so it's not going to be challenging. This is firm, but it is so creamy and silky, and when you spread it on a cake you just want to keep spreading because it's so fun. Right, but don't. I'm going to show you how to make. I'm going to tell you how to make a ice pack. Why? You'll see. You can buy ice packs, but why? This is so inexpensive. You can get a bottle of rubbing alcohol at the dollar store, and it's 2 parts alcohol, 1 part water, and let it freeze. This is frozen. It's so soft, and no matter what your whatever it is you need to cool or fix or take the swelling out of your body parts, it kind of just wraps around and it's form-fitting, and it stays cold for hours. So you'll need something like this later. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I just need that to continue freezing because I'm going to use it for part of this. Buttercream in itself is, some people really are not a fan of buttercream because it's so sweet. This one is not as sweet, and you use a lot less sugar, powdered sugar, than the American buttercream. But I'm telling you, American buttercream is the way you want to go when you're learning, and it's great for practicing and using over and over and over. It starts off as a kind of a meringue. You take the steps as a meringue, and so because of that, you want your stainless steel pot to be absolutely grease-free, your mixing bowl. Anytime you're working with meringue, you have to have grease-free product tools, or it'll break, and it won't give you that beautiful fluff. There's so much I want to tell you, so I need to just calm myself down, take a minute, and realize that we're all in it for the fun, right? Okay. You will be using a lot of butter, some powdered sugar, and some vegetable shortening. Now, I always choose to use high ratio vegetable shortening because it gives you a longer life in your product. If you're baking for profit and you're going to make a wedding cake, that wedding cake is going to sit out for hours before it actually gets cut. In another video, I'll show you how to cut a wedding cake. You think, well, what's the big deal? It's a little tricky and sometimes a pain in the butt. However, you got to get the most pieces out of one cake, and one 8-inch round cake can feed 24 people, right? I'll cover that then. Now, shoot back here. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to just talk through this as I work, okay? So I'm starting off with a, bear with me. Okay, so we're starting off with a bain-marie, or double broiler again. And can you see how low my water is? This is a pretty high pot. My water is only about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches high, and my mixer I'm using right from my mixer. I'm going to be doing this because then I'm going to take it over to the mixer to whip it up. So you have your water boiling. It's just now where I want it. The bottom has all the bubbles on it. Now I'm going to put it on real low because I don't want it to get hotter. Now, you want to make sure that your pot and your bowl have a good snug fit. You want no air or steam coming up from the sides to land and break your mixture. If I put my pot right here, my mixing bowl right here, there's a bit of a gap. I don't know if you can see it. Well, that's going to ruin the stew, so to speak. So I'm going to tilt it and work from there. Now, I've got my bain-marie. I don't want to sound pretentious. Double boiler working. I'm going to put in eggs. Now, when you use your eggs, sometimes you'll have measurement where it says cups. That drives me nuts. That drives me nuts. Who has a cup of eggs, or 2 cups of eggs, or a third of a cup of eggs? The recipe will be included with all my other recipes. I promise you that. And I'll explain exactly what you're going to need. I'm not going to make you guess. So I've got my sugar and my eggs going. I'm going to just keep mixing this, and I'll turn off my video recorder because this is only so exciting. And then it's not. So I'm going to keep mixing. What I'm doing is I'm pasteurizing these eggs. I need it to get to be 160 degrees Fahrenheit before the eggs are actually safe to eat. And I'm also dissolving the sugar crystals, because when you're decorating, last thing you want is to taste grainy icing. So I'm just going to keep on mixing, and I'm going to scrape the sides because I'm mixing in this bowl. I don't want granules on the side of the bowl. You could also take not too often. Don't do it too often, but you can take water with the pastry brush and just wash down the side of the bowls to keep the grains from adhering to it. But I know that when I use this, I don't scrape this bowl hard. I'll scrape it to loosen everything, but if it's there, I'm not gonna force it off. So it's gonna keep going. Very low heat. This is gonna take some time, so I'm gonna come back periodically and show you the changes, okay? All right, I'm gonna show you how to wash it down with the pastry brush. It looks like just a paintbrush, but it's it is food safe. So you're gonna dip it, but you're really gonna try to take off as much as you can, and you don't want it dripping. You don't want to add water to this. You just want to keep this fluid. So I'm just coming along and just kind of scraping those little granules back into place so it can play nice. And that's it. I'm not going to do it often or a lot. Okay, can you see it getting almost a yellowish kind of hue to it? The sugar crystals are dissolving, and it won't boil. It shouldn't boil. If it's boiling, you got your water way too hot. So quickly turn it down and mix it. Don't whisk it real fast, but mix it to cool it off as best you can. So like I said, you want it to get it to 160 degrees to make sure that the eggs are then safe to eat. And then when it's done, let's see, you can, at the beginning you can see the granules in here. You can see the sugar granules in the egg whites. After a while, you're not going to. That's our goal, to dissolve the sugar. And it's going to become a milky, white, very liquidy mixture, which is exactly what we're waiting for. Now that's when I would know that it's time to take it off the heat. But I'm going to use the thermos candy thermometer just so that you have an idea what to look for. Okay, I'm going to keep stirring this baby. Okay, this is done. It's at 160, and you can see that it's really liquidy. It's runny. That's good. There's no, and you can even hear, there's no sugar crystals. So now I'm going to take it over to the mixer and whoop this baby up. Okay, so I have it in my mixer, and you can see it's a nice milky wet liquid, which is exactly what I want. And it doesn't have that egg white drip coming off my whisk. All right, so I'm gonna, and you are gonna want your whisk attachment because we're gonna want to put in a lot of air in here. All right, I'm gonna start it off low, medium, and pick up the speed. Okay, now this is where we're going to get that packet that we made. The ice packet. Because what I'm going to do, I need to cool this now. I need to cool it down to where it's about 95 degrees, or so you can touch it with your finger and it's finger temperature. How's that? I don't know what to call it, but that. So this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to whisk this up pretty high, and I'll go off and on because I don't want to bore you. So here we go. All right, so I've got my, it's going right under here. Can you see it changing colors? This baby's cold. Can you do it right? So I'm gonna keep twisting this until it turns into like a soft, firm peak. And I'm gonna keep pulling it. About, it's still glossy, it's very glossy and not real stiff, but it's got a good peak to it. The bowl is cool to my touch now, and so is the meringue, and it's delicious. Okay, so now here's the part where I want to kind of educate you on a few things. Okay, I'm going to add in some vanilla. The butter, there's a lot of butter, there's a lot of butter, I told you. It's not room temperature. You don't want it room temperature. You want it soft, but still able to hold its shape. And I can put a little pressure in and make an indentation. That's what I want. Then I'm also going to have some, like I said, some shortening, some vegetable shortening, and some powdered sugar. The powdered sugar, most come on, think. Okay, you want your icings to have a stabilizer in it. The American buttercream that I showed earlier, it doesn't need one because there's so much sugar. The powdered sugar really makes things stiffen up and hold its shape, you know, so it's going to take a tank to knock it over. These other whipped cream icing I'll cover in another video. That'll need a stabilizer, and this will need a stabilizer if you're going to do like a wedding cake. And a stabilizer does just that. It keeps it stable for hours. Remembering that air is the enemy of food. What I'm using for my stabilizer in this cream, in this icing, is icing. If you could read my mind, this would go so fast. Then you'd get bored and find yourself in a loony bin. I use the powdered sugar for my stabilizer in this icing. I really am educated, sort of. All right, so I'm going to drop in my butter a little at a time, and it's going to deflate. Now, right now it's nice and light and somewhat fluffy. I love this recipe because there's technique in it. I love technique. But once you get technique down, man, let me tell you, the rest is, well, it's a piece of cake. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some vanilla, and then I'm going to add in my butter a dab at a time. Now, a couple dabs at a time. There's no real secret to it. Now, like I said, you're going to see it flatten out, and you're going to think that it's broken. When I say broken, it looks curdled and it looks like, oh, what a mess. It's not. It's doing what it needs to do to make the rest of the party happen. So I'll show you along the steps as I work. All right, so let's rock this. All right. The meringue is still at a temperature where it can melt the butter. But you want to let it incorporate. At this point, I'm going to scrape the edges. Perfect. There's no extra sugar crystals stuck to it like sometimes that can be. And I feel a lot of the butter on the bottom. So it's not done working yet. And that's why you scrape. Because remember, I've told you these KitchenAids, I love them, but they've got that little divot. Look at that butter. Come on, baby. Go play. Go play. Come on. Oh, you. that's user error. That's not the butter. The KitchenAids have these little divots on the bottom, and that's why you need to really scrape it to make sure that you get it all. Yeah, and if I was graceful, boy, this would look nice, but since I'm not, that's all right. I'm gonna win this. They just don't know it. So I'm gonna let this mix for a little bit more. All right, I brought you in real close so that I can show you what it looks like. It looks kind of like it's curdled, right? That's fine. That's, believe it or not, that's exactly what we want. Now I'm gonna add, I said I was going to do it earlier and I forgot, so I'm going to add the vanilla now. And yeah, some vanilla is my actual measurement. All right, let's get that mixed in. Shortening just a little bit at a time. it looks really, it looks like it's just a mess. It's not. It's really quite beautiful. It's coming together so fast. Sometimes it can take a couple of minutes, and sometimes it can take just a few seconds. But so far, everything looks just beautiful. So I'm going to put a couple, maybe 30 more seconds on this. Oh, that looks good. It looks so satiny. Now, if you're doing a wedding cake, okay, and when you do bake for hire, you really need to kick up your standards. They need to be way up there. They need to be better than mine. That's pretty high. No kidding. I don't mess around with that stuff, because I know how important this is to people. And anytime you're doing a bake for hire occasion, they want that wow factor. They want to be blown away. And as soon as you drop off the cake, they don't care about you, because now they get all the attention and they get all the praise, and that's what you want. But if you are going to bake for hire and you are going to do a wedding cake, or even for yourself, you can either have a white wedding cake with icing, which looks really, of course, classic and beautiful, and this is where you would stop. Well, I mean, right here. But if you wanted to give it that little brushed antique look, add, let's see, for this amount, I'd say start off with like 3 drops of yellow food coloring. For this volume, it'll give you a really beautiful off-white color, and it's a very romantic shade. So, but start off with 1 drop if you're not sure. And if you see a little bit, and that's all the coloring you want, you've nailed it, right? Right. So, all right, I'm going to add in the powdered sugar and give it another whisk. I'm going to let it mix for, I can't even tell you, because you have to go by sight, and I'll break it down as I'm going along. All right. So, here we go. Do I drive you crazy or what? I don't blame you if you say yeah. Just don't say yeah. So I am going to put it all at one time, just to make sure I get some of this on my beautiful new coat. And I'm going to cover this baby, because I don't mind a little bit on my coat, but I sure don't want to be wearing it. All right. I'm going low just so that it gets incorporated. And I'm going to pick up the speed. Take this off so you can see better. What I want to show you. Let me get my spatula so you can see. Get a couple of spatulas so you can see. All right. So here, oh, that's like digging into a cloud. And you see how nice that is? That's smooth. That spreads so easily. Let's see. Can you see that? But don't. Well, there you go. I love spilling, I swear. So because it's still soft enough like that, okay, it's good. And man, that's gonna spread so easily. But it's not good enough for roses. And my rose test is always how I determine when icing is ready. If it'll give me strong, firm roses, then it's ready. This will spread perfectly, but a little bit more. I don't want it to fall off so easy, because if it falls off there easily, it's going to fall off my rose nail easily. So let me let this Let me have at it a little bit more. Scrape one more time. Okay, so yeah, I tasted this. Oh my gosh. See, I had not planned on making a cake today. I am going on vacation and I still haven't even packed. So making a cake was not on my agenda, but I wanted to get this into you before I left. But now that I'm tasting this, I want some cake. All right, one more whirl. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Sorry. Come with me. I'm going to take you somewhere. Sorry, guys. All right. I don't always know what I'm doing. As a matter of fact, it's like a crapshoot. All right, so I got this beautiful buttercream. It's a Swiss buttercream. When you do this, you are going to be so excited to put it on a cake, to decorate with it. It's gonna flow so effortlessly. The pressure you're gonna need for this one as opposed to the American icing is so different. This is just so light and so fluffy, and I feel like I've got icing splattered on my face. Sorry. All right, so you know, when I was working full time as a cake decorator, I would go see my grandkids, and straight from work in my chef's coat and icing everywhere, because that's what happens when you're a cake decorator. You no longer have regular colored skin. It's flakes with all sorts of food coloring. You just accept it. Well, they would come and they'd give me hugs and kisses and kisses and kisses, and then my granddaughter, she was, "Grandma, you always taste so sweet." It's the icing. It's not me. Okay, so man, I'll tell you what, because I'm not going to be here, I'm going to freeze this, partially because I'm not going to be here, and also so that I can show you how to thaw it when I do use it. I'm just kind of cleaning the beater so that, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful thing. That's just a beautiful thing. This right here is what makes you kind of want to be a cake decorator. Let me show you the consistency real good. I don't know. Can you see that? It's smooth, it's light, and it's not going to fall off as easily. Eventually, but not. That'll be a good rose. That'll hold its shape, and that is what I want. And all is good and fine unless it doesn't taste good. Nailed it. Okay, go try this out. Use those tricks that I showed you. Make a cake for your family, even if it's a box cake, and use this icing. Oh! Before I forget, if you wanted this to be a chocolate icing, then you would take, oh my goodness, I can't remember right now. You would take some of that chocolate ganache that I showed you how to make up here, or just melt some sweetened chocolate. I want to say 4 or 6 ounces. It'll be in my recipe, and that'll be the last thing you add. So when your icing is all done, like right now, If I wanted it chocolate, I would pour in some melted chocolate into there, whip it up really well, and die a happy girl. It's so good. Okay, so, and I do apologize for all my intermediate bakers for having to wait so long for something fun and good, but my beginning bakers, boy, you guys are just catching up, and I want to just fill your noggin with as much information as I can before we go on too far. I don't want you to get lost, and yeah, I've enjoyed you in my ride so far, so don't get out of the car yet. So, but my intermediate bakers, you guys got to try this, and then try icing a cake with it. What a difference. So I'm going to freeze it in an airtight container, and the day before I'm ready to use it, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and let it thaw slowly. I don't want the condensation to get inside and break my icing. So, all right, Swiss buttercream. All right, my friends, until next time, this is the Bijou Baker. Have a great day.
Ah, that was fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe.